While the world is focused on political news, a story is unfolding in the heart of Europe that could affect everyone. A place whose name has become synonymous with nuclear disaster is once again in the spotlight. And this time, the reasons for concern are extremely serious. A structure that cost $2 billion and took an entire decade to build. A construction designed to isolate radioactive danger for 100 years ahead. A technological marvel meant to close the darkest chapter of the nuclear age. All of this has stopped working the way it was intended. In December, the International Atomic Energy Agency published a report with alarming conclusions. It was followed by months of uncertainty, debate, and growing concern among experts. And we're not talking about conspiracy theories or panic. These are conclusions made by leading nuclear safety specialists. They point to real damage to a critical facility and risks that affect not just one country, but an entire continent. What actually happened in February, when a drone attacked the protective structure above the destroyed reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant? Why experts are talking about the loss of key safety functions that are worth billions of dollars? Which countries could be at risk if the situation continues to deteriorate? And is it possible to restore what was damaged, or is the world facing a new phase of the Chernobyl crisis? 2025 was a serious test for the Chernobyl exclusion zone. What happened there over the past year went largely unnoticed. And that is a mistake. Because right now, above the same reactor that exploded back in 1986, many dangerous and interesting things are taking place. And this affects not only Ukraine. Of course, the main news of the recent months is the damage to the protective arch, also known as Shelter 2. February 14, 2025, the day when the annual Munich Security Conference opened, one of the world's key international forums on global threats. And on that very day, a video appeared on social media. The footage was grainy and filmed from far away, but it was clear what was happening. A drone, flying at high speed, crashed into the protective arch of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The impact hit the outer layer of the dome, and a fire broke out. The video clearly shows flames spreading across part of the structure. The outer shell of the sarcophagus was burning, the very structure meant to protect the world from radiation for the next 100 years. Media outlets quickly picked up the story. It was described as an attempt to create a nuclear threat in the center of Europe. But regardless of political accusations, one fact remained clear: there was a real fire on the roof of the sarcophagus, and it had to be extinguished. Fire crews arrived within 30 minutes. They worked under extremely difficult conditions. Radiation levels, height, and the structure of the dome, where heavy equipment cannot be placed, all made firefighting much harder. Once again, like in 1986, firefighters were circling the Chernobyl plant. But this time, they were lucky. The fire mostly affected the outer cladding. Metal panels, insulation materials, and protective coatings were burning. After 2 hours, the fire was put out. Official statements said there were no casualties. Radiation levels were normal. The situation was under control, but in reality, it was not that simple. The IAEA released an official statement saying that an explosion had occurred at the Chernobyl site in the area of the new safe confinement. Specialists began assessing the damage, and that is when troubling details emerged. The strike was not random. The drone hit the section of the dome where the ventilation and humidity control systems are located. This is critical to understand. The sarcophagus does more than just cover the reactor. It creates a controlled internal environment. Humidity is regulated. Pressure is controlled to prevent radioactive dust from rising. Temperature is maintained. And it was precisely these systems that were damaged. The cladding melted. Insulation was breached. Sensors destroyed. Ventilation channels were damaged. For the first few days, authorities tried to calm the public, calling the damage minor and easy to fix. But engineers on site knew the problem was far more serious. An area of about 300 square meters of the outer shell was damaged. This was no longer just a hole in the roof, it was a breach of the protective barrier. Disagreements followed over how to handle repairs. Kiev wanted quick temporary fixes, patch the holes, restore basic functions, and move on. The IAEA insisted on a full-scale restoration. By April, it became clear that there would be no quick solution. Temporary repairs were made. The holes were sealed. Basic systems were partially restored, but full protection was not achieved. And then, in December, nearly 10 months after the incident, the IAEA released its final report. The wording was diplomatic, but the message was harsh. The new sarcophagus had lost its core safety functions. This meant the February drone strike had far more serious consequences than initially admitted, and the situation required not cosmetic repairs, but full reconstruction. For many, this meant the world was once again facing a Chernobyl-level threat. The protective dome is not just a roof over ruins. It is a massive structure weighing 35,000 tons, built over 10 years at a cost of $2 billion. Officially, it is called the new safe confinement. It was designed to protect the planet from radiation for the next 100 years. Inside the dome is the destroyed reactor, containing huge amounts of radioactive material, fuel-containing masses, graphite, and radioactive dust. All of this was supposed to be safely isolated from the outside world. According to experts, that isolation has now been compromised. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi conducted an on-site inspection. The good news, the load-bearing structures were not critically damaged. The bad news, only temporary repairs were made to the roof. The holes were sealed, but safety systems were not fully fixed. And in March of the same year, another incident occurred, a blackout. Voltage surges cut power to the sarcophagus. No electricity meant no monitoring systems. No technologies tracking radiation levels around the clock. Ukraine's Ministry of Energy declared an emergency. Specialists rushed to restore power. But the fact still remains, a structure that was meant to operate autonomously and reliably proved vulnerable. Western media rang the alarm, calling it a ticking time bomb. The IAEA is demanding urgent action. The new safe confinement performs 4 critical functions. First, isolation of radioactive materials. Inside the reactor are fuel-containing masses formed after the explosion, a mixture of uranium, plutonium, graphite, and other radioactive elements. Second, protection from external factors. Rain, snow, and temperature changes accelerate the destruction of internal structures. The original sarcophagus collapsed largely due to this. Third, control of radioactive dust, the most critical function. Dust can rise into the air with even small vibrations, pressure changes, or indoor works. If the dome is damaged, this dust can escape. Fourth, creating a controlled environment for future dismantling. The plan was to gradually dismantle the most dangerous elements under the protective arch. In 2019, officials announced that a contract had been signed to dismantle the original sarcophagus, which was built right after the explosion, and then begin dismantling the destroyed 4th reactor unit. The works were supposed to commence, but apparently, something went wrong. On December 13, Grossi stated that part of the dismantling work had to be slowed down and halted. This means the decommissioning of the plant will take longer than expected. Originally, everything was supposed to be completed by 2065, and now a critical question: what happens if issues with the dome continue to worsen? Experts outline several scenarios. The most likely one is a gradual release of radioactive dust. Not an explosion. Not a repeat of 1986. A chain reaction is impossible, the fuel cooled long ago. But dust is different. We are talking about microscopic particles of cesium-137, strontium-90, and plutonium-239. These elements remain dangerous for decades, and in the case of plutonium, for tens of thousands of years. Cesium-137 has a half-life of 30 years, strontium-90 29 years, plutonium 24,000 years. If the dome's seal is seriously compromised, wind can carry this dust beyond the sarcophagus. First into the exclusion zone, then further, depending on weather conditions. The exclusion zone is a 30-kilometer radius around the plant where specialists are working and research continues. A serious release would sharply increase radiation exposure for anyone in the area. But the exclusion zone is only the beginning. Beyond it lie populated regions, northern Ukraine, southern Belarus, and Russia's Bryansk region. These areas are most vulnerable due to wind patterns. In 1986, radioactive fallout moved in this exact direction. Belarus absorbed up to 70% of the contamination. If another incident occurs, history could repeat itself. For Ukraine, the consequences would be the most severe. The Kiev region would once again be at risk, and most importantly, the Dnipro River. If radionuclides enter the Dnipro basin, water supplies for millions of people would be threatened. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Chernobyl is not just a Ukrainian or Eastern European issue, but rather a global one. The exclusion zone will remain dangerous for thousands of years, not decades. Some isotopes have such long half-lives that even future generations will still face the consequences of the disaster, even if they are not global. Chernobyl is located in Central Europe. The Polish border is 400 kilometers away. Slovakia, 800. Germany, just over 1,000. With unfavorable winds, radioactive dust could reach these countries within a day. What would this mean for the European Union? Not a catastrophe in the literal sense, but serious consequences nonetheless. Temporary bans on mushrooms, wild berries, dairy products, public anxiety, political fallout. Even today, nearly 40 years after the 1986 disaster, restrictions remain in parts of Europe due to cesium-137 still present in ecosystems. There is, however, some good news. Modern technology allows for much better monitoring. In 1986, the Soviet Union concealed information for days. The world only found out about the disaster when radiation was detected in Sweden. Today, radiation data is published online in real time. The IAEA maintains a permanent presence at the Chernobyl plant. Any abnormal readings are detected immediately. This is crucial because the most dangerous scenario is not a sudden release, but a slow deterioration that goes unnoticed. That is why the IAEA is calling for urgent modernization of monitoring systems, new sensors, automated controls, round-the-clock observation, all capable of functioning even during power outages. Funding for this is planned for 2026. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has already confirmed its willingness to support the project. The question is speed. Will the necessary work be completed before the situation gets out of control? Now, the most important part, the worst-case scenario. Experts identify three main risk factors. First, severe damage to the arch due to repeated attacks or natural disasters. Second, a major fire or explosion inside the sarcophagus. Third, prolonged windy conditions. If all three occur at once, a significant release of radioactive dust could happen. Contamination would spread across several Eastern European countries, requiring an international emergency response. Even then, the scale would be smaller than in 1986. Because back then graphite was burning inside the reactor, reaching thousands of degrees and sending radioactive material high into the atmosphere. Today, graphite is not burning, temperatures are normal, but radioactive dust on internal surfaces could still become airborne due to mechanical disturbances or pressure changes. For Ukraine, this would mean possible expansion of the exclusion zone, evacuation of personnel, and damage to agriculture. For Belarus, the risk of radioactive forest and swamp fires that can spread contamination over hundreds of kilometers. For Russia, the main concern is the Bryansk region. Under unfavorable conditions, radiation levels could rise, leading to restrictions on agricultural products. Central and northern Russia are not under immediate threat. For Europe, the consequences would be noticeable but not catastrophic. Detection of radionuclides, temporary sanitary restrictions, political repercussions, but no mass evacuations or sharp increases in disease rates. Environmental monitoring continues. The exclusion zone remains a major research site for studying long-term radiation effects on ecosystems. Scientists and independent observers record changes in animal populations and vegetation, some of which show signs of adaptation to radioactive conditions. The main conclusion from experts is clear. Chernobyl remains a global threat. This is not a closed chapter. It is a site that requires constant monitoring, international protection, and full demilitarization. The IAEA continues to require urgent measures, and restoration work is expected to begin in the coming months. This year will show how seriously the world takes this threat, whether the necessary work will be completed and whether the protective functions of the arch can be fully restored. We will get answers very soon, but for now, Chernobyl remains a place where the past refuses to let go of the present, and where the future remains uncertain. That's all for now. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, write a comment, and subscribe to the channel.